Peter Mandelson, Arch Labour Party Careerist by Comrade Peaky Smeet. A friend and former Labour councillor reported to me how Peter Mandelson spoke at an online seminar. He'd been impressed by one comment summed up as, "If you have a good idea, don't bother asking everybody, just go ahead and do it." This seems to sum up all that was wrong with the New Labour project. Even if you are achieving good results, not asking people makes them feel divorced from the outcomes. Even worse, it can lead to disastrous and unintended consequences for those who know more and could warn you about it in advance. Mr. Starmer thought appointing Mr. Mandelson as ambassador to Washington was a good idea, and he just went ahead and did it. The consequences have been disastrous for him. Mandelson's biography is well known, grandson of wartime Labour Home Secretary Herbert Morrison. He had a natural into the Labour Party and movement, beginning his career, much like many Labour figures, including Jeremy Corbyn, as an employee of the trade union movement working for TUC. It's not necessary here to reprise his whole biography. It's widely available. Suffice to say that apart from a short stint working in television, he worked as a Labour movement staff member, specifically in charge of communications, once in Parliament and then in government. He twice stepped down as cabinet minister, once for taking an unsecured loan from a cabinet colleague for a house worth, at the time, £475,000. The second scandal was around him intervening in the passport application of a billionaire businessman. Although in both instances the formal inquiries cleared him of any wrongdoing, the perception was that he was interpelling around with and getting favours from and doing favours for some very wealthy people. It's notable now that he lives in a £12 million house. This was paid for by the infamous revolving door of government ministers going into private lobbying and well-remunerated directorships after leaving office. While a well-known phenomenon, thanks to the publication of all the notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein correspondence, we now get a glimpse into the process working in practice. Epstein advised Mandelson on how to apply for directorships, including with Deutsche Bank, and that could have been worth $4 to $10 million per year. In the end, Mandelson didn't want to work full-time, and so got a job with a firm called Lazard for 1 day a week, worth a mere $1 million per year. He also set up his own lobbying firm, Global Counsel, which, as Mandelson said in one email to Epstein, paid for his expensive mortgage. Epstein advised him on how to find clients for the firm, Global Counsel, such as JP Morgan, Planeteer, and Anglo-American as clients. These roles were in part to avoid regulation around former ministers taking jobs that relied on their former political roles or were intrinsically linked with them. And it is clear that what was for sale was the general political, not financial advice on how to get things done, including introductions and network access. This is clearly not an uncommon situation. Epstein, it seems, also gave similar advice to former Israeli Prime Minister. After all, as we've written in these pages before, this was Epstein's business, helping manage other people's wealth for a cut. It's perhaps not surprising that people who find themselves rubbing shoulders with fabulously wealthy should not feel the itch to be able to live like them, especially as, when entering the room as a government official, they are functionally treated as peers of the wealthy, individuals of power and respect. It is equally understandable that the wealthy should want to encourage such feelings and throw a few crumbs to the politicians to win their loyalty. As the case Mandelson demonstrates, it does not have to be the naked bribery of a plain brown envelope. Continued loyalty, in his case as Business Secretary in the UK and Trade Commissioner of the EU, can generally be rewarded by these advisor roles, directorships, or other supposed jobs where the ultra-wealthy can name the price. We've noted before that the book publishing and speaking to a game is a simple way to transfer substantial sums to former politicians in ways which no set of rules could ever stop. Any attempt to ban such channeling of funds will always simply be circumvented, as Mandelson and Epstein managed to do. Epstein gave us a great example in one of his emails, where he leadenly says, supporting Gordon Brown will be seen as bad form commercially. Mandelson's own interest in the subsequent selling price of his skills and contacts depended on him being seen as helpful to commercial interests. that he had the lack of sense to forward secret and commercially sensitive government documents to Epstein will certainly come to be seen as bad form commercially. It's inconceivable that other ministers through the ages have not, in private conversations and communications, given wealthy friends and acquaintances tips and winks about what's coming up. But that would never be provable. There just have never been email dumps like this one before to let the cat out of the bag. And even if again Mandelson is formally cleared, his misjudgment in leaving evidence behind will be remembered. What should also be remembered is that all of this flows not just from the personal cupidity, but structurally from a society of immense inequality, a society in which a handful live in luxury and can spare some of their wealth to tempt and buy whomever they please. Journalists have come out after Mandelson's fall with stories of how he threatened their jobs because he knew their boss, shades of the Savile playbook. Where people depend for their livelihood on their job, such threats have power. His wealth of money and connections feed back into his ability to influence the machinery of the Labour Party and restore it as a party safe for capital. But again, it's not him alone as some sort of cuckoo in the nest. Any party that seeks to manage an unequal society will inevitably end up being run for the benefit of the people who benefit from that inequality.
You have been listening to World Socialist Radio, produced by the Socialist Party of Great Britain. If you would like to find out more, you can visit our website, spgb.net.